Have you ever wondered how a 1951 treaty could be at the center of a territorial dispute in 2024? In the early 1950s, the Cold War was brewing, a period of intense geopolitical tension between the United States and the Soviet Union. The world was essentially divided into two camps, and alliances were being formed left and right. It was in this climate that the United States and the Philippines inked the Mutual Defense Treaty in August 1951. This pact, an epitome of the international politics of the era, was anchored in the shared commitment of both nations to defend each other in the event of an armed assault from an external party. Essentially, it was an affirmation in ink and paper of the old adage, an attack on one is an attack on all. Yet, this treaty was more than just a mutual protection pact. It was also a symbol of the close ties between the United States and the Philippines, a bond that was forged in the fires of World War II and the subsequent fight for Philippine independence. The treaty was a statement of intent. It was a signal to the world that the United States was committed to maintaining peace and security in the Pacific region. It was an assurance to the Philippines, a young republic finding its footing in a world overshadowed by superpowers, that it was not alone. For the United States, the treaty served another critical purpose. It was a bulwark against the spread of communism in Southeast Asia, a region the United States considered vital to its strategic interests. Remember, this was a time when the domino theory was all the rage, the fear that if one country fell to communism, others would inevitably follow. Fast forward to today, and this treaty, signed over 7 decades ago, is now at the heart of a modern-day dispute. But to understand why, we need to delve into the geopolitical significance of this region, which we will explore in the next segment. So stay tuned. Now consider this. Two seemingly insignificant shoals in the South China Sea, Ayungin and Scarborough, are causing a major international stir. Nestled between the Philippines and Vietnam, these shoals are more than just specks on a map. They sit in the heart of the South China Sea, a body of water rich in natural resources, teeming with fish, and believed to be sitting atop vast reserves of oil and natural gas. The Ayungin and Scarborough shoals are of particular interest due to their strategic location. They serve as gateways to the Pacific Ocean, and are in close proximity to major shipping lanes. This makes them an invaluable asset for any nation interested in trade, maritime security, and power projection. China, a global power with expanding ambitions, has shown a keen interest in these shoals. The Asian giant has been constructing artificial islands and military installations in the region, asserting its sovereignty over the disputed territories. But it's not just about resources or strategic advantages. These shoals are steeped in national pride and historical disputes. China's 9-line claim, which covers most of the South China Sea, is based on historical rights they believe date back centuries. This claim, however, is contested by several countries, including the Philippines, who argue that the shoals fall within their exclusive economic zone. This dispute has led to heightened tensions in the region, with the United States backing the Philippines due to their Mutual Defense Treaty. This treaty, signed in the midst of the Cold War era, obligates both nations to support each other in case of an armed attack in the Pacific. The United States' involvement adds another layer to this geopolitical puzzle, reflecting its own interests in maintaining freedom of navigation and curbing China's expansionist tendencies. These tiny landforms, largely unknown to the world, have become a geopolitical hotspot. So, as we delve deeper into the complexities of this dispute, remember this. Sometimes, it's the smallest pieces on the board that hold the greatest power in the game of geopolitics. How did these shoals trigger a major dispute between the Philippines and China, you may ask? The answer lies in the escalating tension that has been building over the years. Let's take a step back and examine the key events that have fueled this dispute. It began with China's increased military presence in the South China Sea. This move, seen as a bold assertion of territorial claims, stirred the waters, so to speak. The Chinese government started constructing artificial islands, equipped with military installations. This act was perceived as a direct threat to the sovereignty of the surrounding nations, including the Philippines. The Philippines, in response, lodged a formal protest against China's actions. However, this did little to deter China's ambitions. Over time, China continued to flex its military muscle, conducting naval drills and deploying advanced military equipment in the region. This was a clear signal of China's intent to defend its claims, no matter the cost. But the Philippines was not to be easily subdued. On the contrary, this move sparked a sense of nationalistic fervor among the Filipinos. They rallied behind their government's decision to stand up to China. The Philippine government, for its part, sought the assistance of international arbitral tribunals and invoked the Mutual Defense Treaty with the United States. The idea was clear: they were not going to give up their territorial rights without a fight. As the tension escalated, so did the stakes. The shoals in question, Ayungin and Scarborough, became the epicenter of this geopolitical storm. Not just a dispute over territorial waters, this conflict has evolved into a standoff between two nations, each with its own vision of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And so, the shoals, once tranquil fishing grounds, have now become the stage for an intense geopolitical drama. The constant presence of Chinese and Filipino military vessels, the repeated clashes, the unending diplomatic wrangling, all these elements have turned the shoals into a ticking time bomb. But why is a 1951 treaty suddenly so crucial in this 21st century conflict? Well, the Mutual Defense Treaty between the Philippines and the United States, signed in the aftermath of World War II, has been brought front and center in the current dispute over the Ayungin and Scarborough Shoals. This treaty, often seen as a relic of the Cold War era, has taken on a new significance in the modern era. Under the Mutual Defense Treaty, both the United States and the Philippines agreed to come to each other's aid in the event of an armed attack, creating an alliance meant to deter any potential aggressors. The treaty has been invoked in the context of this dispute as a means of discouraging China's territorial claims over these contested regions. So, what are the obligations of the United States under this treaty? The language of the treaty states that each party recognizes an armed attack in the Pacific area on either of them would be dangerous to the peace and safety of the other. In response, they would act to meet the common dangers in accordance with their constitutional processes. This means that if the Philippines were to be attacked, the United States could be compelled to step in and defend its ally. However, the potential implications of invoking the treaty are immense. On one hand, it provides a layer of protection for the Philippines, creating a deterrent against any potential aggression. On the other hand, it also escalates the conflict, potentially drawing the United States into a direct confrontation with China. This is why the Mutual Defense Treaty is considered a double-edged sword. It offers a sense of security to the Philippines, but it also threatens to provoke further conflict. In a world where the balance of power is constantly shifting, this old treaty has become a critical factor in the geopolitical landscape of the Pacific region. This old treaty has become a double-edged sword, offering both protection and provoking conflict. So, where does this leave us today? The Ayungin and Scarborough Shoals dispute still simmers, a hotbed of tension in the cool vastness of the Pacific. Recent developments reveal a dance of diplomacy and power, each step a delicate balance between national sovereignty and international relations. While negotiations continue, the proverbial chessboard of geopolitics shifts and transforms, with each move potentially altering the course of history. China's assertiveness in claiming these territories has been met with a firm stance from the Philippines, backed by the United States through the Mutual Defense Treaty. But as the waves of the South China Sea crash against these disputed islands, the question remains, what will the future hold? Potential scenarios range from peaceful resolution to escalated conflict. A diplomatic solution would be the ideal outcome, preserving regional stability and international laws. Yet, the shadow of conflict looms, a stark reminder of the high stakes at play. In this intricate dance, the Mutual Defense Treaty serves as a beacon of hope. It offers the Philippines a powerful ally in the face of a daunting adversary. But it also holds a mirror to the world, reflecting the complexities of international law and sovereign rights. In this complex game of geopolitics, the stakes are high, and the future uncertain. The Ayungin and Scarborough Shoals, seemingly insignificant specks in the vast ocean, are now at the heart of a pivotal moment in history.